Hello, myself Dr. Laxmidevi, Associate Professor in the Department of CSCDS at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video lecture, we are going to acquaint ourselves with some of the definitions and terminologies associated with functions. So here functions mean user-defined functions in programming language. So let us see the definition. What is a C function? That means define the concept of function in C programming language. So in any programming language, function is defined as a self-contained block of code which performs a specific task or set of tasks. So these provide a way to modularize the code by breaking it into smaller manageable units. By making use of functions, we can modularize the code. That means larger units can be broken down into smaller manageable units. So this allows code reusability. So they allow for code reusability, enhance readability, and promote the organization of complex programs. So with the help of this, when we divide a problem into sub-problems and then write functions for each, and then write functions for solving each sub-problem. So because of that, the code can be reused again and again, and also it enhances readability and debugging of the program becomes easier. So these are some of the key components and characteristics of C function, or you can say some of the elements of C function here. So when you are using C functions, user-defined functions in programming language, so these are the important elements. First one is function declaration or prototype. So before a function is used, its prototype or declaration is typically provided. So this lets the compiler to know what is the return type of the function, what are the different arguments or parameters, and what is the name of the function, etc. and so on. So this declaration includes the function's name, return type, and type of parameters it accepts. So if there are any. Next one is function definition. Function definition, it contains the actual implementation of the code. So for what purpose the function has been defined. So that definition is written in this function definition. It specifies what the function does and how it achieves its task. Next one is return type. So what is return type? Functions may return a value to the calling code. So the return type indicates the type of data that the function will return. So after performing the specified task, the data, it will return something. So that is nothing but the return type. If a function does not return a value, the return type is specified as void. Next one, parameters. So in functions, there is an important concept called as parameters. So parameters are nothing but these are functions can accept input values known as parameters. So which are used within the function's body. Functions are specified in the function declaration and definition. Next, local variables. So local variables, functions can have local variables which are declared within the function and these are accessible within that function only. So that is what local variable means. Next we'll see about actual parameters and formal parameters. So what are actual parameters mean? Actual parameters, so these refer to the values or expressions that are passed to a function when it is called. So these values are supplied in the function call. So these are the real data you can say. So that will be used inside the function. So these are the actual parameters which we are passing here. So inside the main function, we have defined a function. So this is a function call. So in the function call, we actually pass the parameters. So these are called as actual parameters. So these are the real data which is passed inside so that will be used inside the function. Next, coming to formal parameters. So these are the parameters declared in the function prototype or definition. So they act as, so when we are writing the definition of the function, so there we use these formal parameters. When we are calling the function, there we use actual parameters. So they act as placeholders for the values that will be passed during the function call. So this is an example of formal parameters here. Int A and float B, these are the formal parameters. And here we need to write the function definition. Next one, why to use functions in C? So there are certain advantages of using functions in C programming language. So let us see what are the advantages, why we need to use functions here. So the main aim of using functions is to improve the readability of the code. A larger problem is divided into sub-problems, and then for solving each sub-problem, we write functions here. So because of this, readability of the code increases, then reusability of the code is increased. Same function can be used in any program rather than writing the same code from scratch. Next, debugging of the code would be easier. So if you see functions, because errors are easy to be traced here. So when you divide a problem into sub-problems and then for solving that sub-problem, you write the code in the form of functions. So debugging also becomes easier here. Next concept is recursion here. So what is recursion? So let us see the definition of recursion. So recursion is a programming concept where a function calls itself in its own definition. So recursive function is nothing but it is a function which solves a problem by solving smaller instances of the same problem. So for example, if you want to calculate the factorial of 5, so it will factorial of 5. So this is again divided into 4 into factorial of 4 factorial into. So 5 factorial is given by 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So this is 5 factorial we do. So in order to do this, we calculate it by 5 into factorial of 4. So this is again divided into 4 into factorial of 3. So in this way, this recursive function is a function that solves a problem by solving smaller instances of the same problem. Next one, what is call by value? So there are two ways in which you can pass parameters to the function. So we'll see that what is call by value. Next one is call by reference. So in call by value method, it is a method of passing arguments to a function. So in call by value mechanism, we actually pass the actual values of the arguments are passed to the function, and any changes which are made to the parameters within the function do not affect the original values outside the function. So for example, consider this. So here we have defined an integer variable value and we are passing this. So this is the actual parameter and these are the formal parameters here. So this value is copied to this variable num. So a copy of this is maintained here. So these are two different copies. So 10 is stored in the variable value and also 10 is stored in the variable num. So, and then if you make any changes to this variable num, so it will not be reflected in the value in this variable. So that is the concept of call by value mechanism, call by value method of passing arguments. Next one, call by reference. So here also this is a method of passing arguments to a function in which the address of the actual parameters is passed to the function. So here a copy is not passed, but the address of the actual parameters is passed. So whatever changes are made to the parameters inside the function, so they affect the original values outside the function also. So in other words, what we can say that the function receives the reference to the memory location where the data is stored, allowing it to modify the original data. So that is the concept of call by reference. So here these are the different, here we pass the address. So instead of passing actual values, we pass the call by reference passes the memory address of the variables to the function. Next, pointer parameters. So functions parameters, they are declared as pointers. So in order to receive the address, so function parameters, they are declared as pointers in the function definition. So they store the memory address. Changes affect the original values. So any modifications which are made to the parameters inside the function using pointers, so they directly impact the original values of the variables outside the function. So thus in this way we have seen the various definitions and terminologies associated with functions, that is user defined functions. In the next video lecture, we will see some more concepts of C programming. Until then, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.